So it's the ones in Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Eagle. It's like 5 or 6 left. Or I don't know the number. That's what they represent. And then we also go to school board.
Are they under your records? Just what if it's important?
Well, we started up just to defend librarians. So wherever librarians are in Rutherford County, that's...
Are you all librarians?
I am not. My husband's a professor of library and information sciences, and we just started with other people that hated how attacked librarians were, threatened and harassed and treated so horribly. So,
This is interesting.
I gave up my seat for somebody who's speaking tonight.
gotcha. Sorry. And on the other side, probably I'm here. 2 weeks is fine.
Come on, don't.
Hey, LB, you want to watch this, I promise.
Just stick with the L's for now. We all three of these ladies here with the L's. So.
Yeah. More purple is up here than down there.
I should.
All right, everybody. Welcome to tonight's show. I see each and every one of you heard our advertisements we had on the television and the radio that went something like this. Tonight, on a very special board meeting, library board meeting. So, I appreciate all of y'all coming. This is a pleasant surprise. I did not realize y'all were interested in our search for a new director. Thank you for laughing. I'm your host, Phil King. I live here in Murfreesboro, And along here is my rest of my compatriots with us on the library board. And so with that, we shall get started. And get started from our reading glasses. All right, first, we will welcome new members and special guests. We do have a new board member with us tonight. Tonight marks his very first board appearance. So please give it up for Sam Huddleston of Murfreesboro City Council. Sam is fulfilling the role by his fellow city councilman. Well, you're not a councilman, you're the city manager, assistant city manager. Thank y'all. See, I was wanting to make sure y'all were paying attention to what I was saying. Anyway, he's taking the place of Sean Wright. He'll be filling in for that remaining of Sean's term. And we thank Sean for his service. Also, tonight, we should be having someone, a good friend of mine, Brett Carter. Is he here? Brett was supposed to talk to us about the Library Board Foundation. They do have a fundraiser coming up April
They're going to
12th.
need it if you pull all the fucking books.
The library system as a whole, generally speaking, gets our money from the city and the county. When I say the city, Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Eagleville, and then Rutherford County. Nothing from the state, nothing from the federal government. First, we do is very little. We also get money from where we raise funds, things like our Friends groups. So, Friends of Wamball Library, Friends of Smyrna Library, things like those. But also this one big fundraiser that the Library Foundation Board has. So if you're interested in that, I'm sure it's on our website or the Foundation Board's website. April 12th, that's a Saturday if I'm correct. So we'll move on. Now, we are chapter 3, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, not ladies and gentlemen, today's St. Patrick's Day. I should be saying lads and lasses. So we have public comments. I have several guests who have signed up to speak, and I have 5 people who will speak. Our first contestant is Angela Tips. Angela, if you were here, please come on down. Is she here? Is somebody sing the Price is Right in that first song? Thank you. Thank you. You were coming to the podium. Now, while Angela is joining us, Angela, anyone else that is speaking, you have 3 minutes. 3 minutes to speak. Angela, there is a timer in front of Angela on her left. And with the moment she starts speaking, I will take the timer. Now, you may be asking yourself, why 3 minutes? How come? Because we want to be nice to other folks that want to have a chance to speak.
No, we don't.
Anybody remember the name Ed Everett? Anybody remember him? Should, because he gave a very famous speech that lasted minimum an hour and a half, if not 2 hours. Nobody remembers. But everybody remembers who spoke after him for, guess what? 3 minutes. Abraham Lincoln got up after him and gave the Gettysburg Address. It can be done in 3 minutes.
No pressure.
None at all. None at all. All right. Hang on. Now, Angela, speak to the microphone, please. Get the test there.
Yes. Oh, hello.
There we are. All right. You're ready to go.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Angela Tips. I live at 1323 Richland Place. I was born in Rutherford County, and I've lived 50 of my 60 years here. I teach in the MTSU School of Music, and I'm the director of music at St. Paul Episcopal Church. I had a line ball library card as a child, and nowadays my husband and I have books on our Kindles borrowed from the Libby app. As soon as my 2 now grown children could write their names, they had library cards. The Rutherford County Library system raised my kids. Story time, summer reading, checking out DVDs for the weekend. The library has always been an important part of my family's life. One of my 2 adult children is trans. From a very young age, my oldest child, Virginia, never wanted to wear dresses, wanted to play baseball with the boys, and dressed as Judy Carter instead of Rosalind Carter in the 5th grade President's Day project at Kent School. What we mistook as being a tomboy was really a lifelong disconnect between the sex Virginia was assigned at birth and their gender identity. Neither of us had the vocabulary to describe what being gender nonconforming was back then. Perhaps a library book would have helped us navigate that passage of time. Accepting Virginia's gender identity as a trans person was a process for me. I was concerned are fearfully and wonderfully made, as the psalmist says, and that all people of every gender and age are created in the image of God. Further, as beloved creations of God, we all have an inherent right as to respect and dignity. Reading a book cannot make anyone trans or keep anyone from becoming trans or gay, for that matter. My family was lucky enough to find our way through this unexpected and unfamiliar territory, and Virginia is thriving. But a book could offer a lifeline to young people who are struggling with their gender identity and don't have a strong support system. In September, a peer-reviewed study found that state-level anti-transgender laws have led to a 72% increase in suicide attempts. A wholesale ban of books on this topic could make vulnerable individuals even more vulnerable due to a lack of reliable information. A book might also help you or a child in your life better understand a friend, family member, or neighbor who is trans. We talk about parental rights a lot, but parental responsibility is also important. Please allow all parents to decide what books their kids read. As you discuss this issue later, I ask you to think of all of God's children, our siblings in Christ.
Thank you, Angela. Y'all, she did it in less than 3 minutes. All right, next up, please, Jessica Robertson.
Okay. This is going to be really good, you guys.
I haven't done this in 30 years. My name is Jessica Robertson. I live on Roanoke Drive in Murfreesboro, and I'm the RCLS card holder. From tonight's agenda, item number 9, other business, and I quote, remove materials that promote, encourages, advocates, or normalizes transgenderism or gender confusion in minors, end quote. I'm going to note here that the word transgenderism is considered derogatory, but you may already know that, and that's why you chose it. Now, I'm going to define the word bigotry as found in the Oxford Languages website. Obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief, opinion, or faction, in particular prejudice against a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular group. Or in simpler terms, from dictionary.com, stubborn and complete intolerance of any creed, belief, or opinion that differs from one's own. As a mother of a transgender child, the attempted erasure of my child in a public setting such as the library by members of this board is deplorable. I am outraged by the audacity and the belief that this action item is acceptable in any way. If my child had been exposed to a book, such as the one that will be voted on this evening, it might have helped them find the words to explain the source of their extreme unhappiness and name their dysphoria long before I had to hear them confess it would be so easy to just drive my car into a ditch and be done. So here we are at a fork in the road. Don't pretend this action item is about anything other than hate and the attempted erasure of actual human beings. Humans have followed a path like this before. What's next? Will my child be forced to wear a pink triangle so that you know who to persecute? Tonight, you can choose to keep books in the library that could save lives and help your trans neighbors, or you can choose cruelty, hatred, and bigotry.
Bravo. Had a girl.
Still on both of them, yes, thank you. All right, our third guest speaker, Katie Turner. Katie, are you here tonight? I should say tonight, there's still day on it. All right, can you see the clock there on your left hand?
Yes.
All right, whenever you're ready.
First of all, thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. My name is Katie Turner. I'm a member of the community. I live at 616 Eagle View Drive. I've been a patron of the library since its former location was just down the street in the other direction at Center for the Arts. I took my kids to the Smyrna branch, and now we teach at the Eagle branches as well because it's literally just down the road. I'm here to ask that the board follow its current reconsideration policy of reviewing books based on the title rather than the entire group of books based on their subject matter. I'm around kids all the time, literally all the time. I work with children and teenagers in my primary job, I work with children in my secondary job, and I volunteer my time with children as well. The book reconsideration policy up for debate on tonight's agenda will harm people I know. And even if I didn't know these children and teens personally, I would still feel the need to speak up for them. Children and teens look to the library for information, for recreation, and as a safe place in which to be themselves. I know everyone sees the world through their own perspectives, but I think we can all agree that one of the primary messages we send our kids is the American ideal of individualism, that every person has value, every person has goals, strengths, and interests. We tell our kids, you are special, you are unique. There is no one like you in this whole world. Never has been, never will be again. It's Barbie's motto, you can be anything. It's on my kid's Hello Kitty sock that I picked up off the living room floor last night. It's like, I can be anything. That I found in the middle, we are, every one of us, our own unique person. Look around the library and you'll find a world of books of every kind. They are each and every one of them special and unique. They each have their own strengths. They each have their own target goal audience. Our current library policy considers each challenged title individually, and I think this should be maintained. If we were able to remove entire swaths of the collection based on a topic some members of the community disagree with, rather than each book's own content, what might come next? I urge the board not to remove materials about transgender topics and instead continue their policy of reconsidering each title separately. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, next is Janine Castro. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Y'all, forgive me, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. And this goes, I mentioned this to our board members. Let me make sure. Has everybody got their phone on mute? See? I do myself. So if y'all wouldn't mind, just out of sheer respect for one another here, just silence your cell phones, please. Welcome, Janine. Can you see the clock there in front of you? All right, turn your left. All right, whenever you're ready, you may begin.
Good evening, everyone. I'm thankful for being in Rutherford County, this great county, and also able to speak in defense of our children. First of all, I want to make it clear that I have nothing but true love for every human being because we are all created in the image of our creator God. With that said, I am completely against all kinds of depraved actions that adults try to bring into our community and trying to groom our children. I am advocating for the removal of all material that promotes or normalizes transgenderism, gender confusion in minors, and speaking against the reconsideration of the book Me and My Dysphoria Monster, which I have right here. I read it. The following definition is from the WebMD. What is mental abuse? Mental abuse is meant to undermine your self-esteem and make you feel worse about yourself. Is also a form of manipulation and control, the effects of mental abuse are just as detrimental as the effects of physical abuse. What's sexual grooming is the action or behavior used to establish an emotional connection with a vulnerable person, generally a minor. So the book talks about, it looks nice at first, but it talks about a monster, a spoiler monster that grows as, this is a boy that was born a boy, but as he's being called a boy, the monster is bullying the kid. And also includes sports, so the teacher calls him to play sports in the boys' team, and the monster got out of hand. He takes the whole room. Keeps following him everywhere. So finally, an adult convinced him that he had the same problem, and it wasn't until it was called by the opposite of what every cell on the body of the person says, and every cell says whether you're a man or a woman, that was able to fix the problem, which is propaganda, and it's harmful to the mental of our children. So
is Christian
we have a
nationalism.
Tennessee law. It says Tennessee Code Title 39 from 2024. It prohibits the sale, loan, or exhibition of material depicting nudity, sexual activity, or other harmful content to minors, with a violation being a Class A misdemeanor. So I'm asking, it talks about more in detail, but I don't have time. I advise those library employees voting for depraved things to resign. I also request the library board members to abide by the Tennessee law and to reprimand and fire the library employees for acting opposite to what the Tennessee law mandates. In morals, we want to encourage inadequacy in minors when in reality kids need guidance and truth. Parents and teachers need to help their children instead of feeling confusion, which leads to mental harm and confusion.
They are cheering to jail librarians, you guys.
All right. Our last person for now,
Jesus
Kalika
Christ.
Cox. Come on down.
Who is this?
See the clock there?
Hello, I'm Kalika Cox, and
They are cheering to jail librarians.
I would like to say throughout history, people have understood that the human person is connected to their body. Our body plays a role in defining who we are. However, there is an alternative view known as Gnosticism, which poses that our body has no real connection to our identity. According to this perspective, the body may even be seen as evil, while our true selves exist independently from our physical form. I see parallels between Gnosticism and transgender ideology, which suggests that a person can look like a man, possess male genetics, and yet, if they feel deep down that they are really and truly a woman, then they are indeed a woman. I believe this notion is misleading and can lead to harmful social effects. An article on this subject highlights serious costs involved. The University of Texas sought to investigate the mental health impacts of transgender individuals who underwent transgender affirming surgery, and they found that those who had the surgery expect significantly higher rates of depression, anxiety, suicide, and substance abuse. Additionally, we must consider the financial impacts. The cost of surgery ranges between $6,000 to $63,000, depending on insurance. And with the emerging information indicated from such surgeries, this situation might change. Notably, several European countries, including UK, Sweden, Norway, and Finland, have adopted a more cautious approach to gender-affirming care. The shift underscores the importance in protecting our children from being mindful of the information they receive. After reading this book, what questions do you think the child might have, considering the child's perspective, especially since the monster never truly disappears? The book raises more questions than answers, and to persuade young children to question the book's theme, even if the story is beyond what they can comprehend in their young age. Thank you.
I don't know if y'all know this or not, but it's been said that the number one fear for people is death. And what comes in second? Speaking in public. And we strict 5 people do a very good job. I appreciate y'all's participation tonight, and each of you should be proud of how you did. So again, thank y'all. We open up chapter 4, the review and approval of the minutes of our prior meeting, which was in February. So board members, your minutes should have been in your board packet we got last week. I'm sure you had a chance to review those. Any thoughts, discussion about those minutes from last week?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as is.
All right, we have a motion to accept the minutes. And we have a second. So all in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. All right. Chapter 5, the consent agenda. I do not believe we have anything on our consent agenda tonight, so we're moving to chapter 6. Reports from our committees of the board. Now, board members, if y'all don't mind, since you've got such a wonderful studio audience with us tonight, y'all, this is pretty much where the business of the board gets done. Is we will go to the chairperson of the committee that I will call out, and they will report or give me updates about that committee for the library board. I'm also mentioning this for Sam's benefit, since this, again, is his very first meeting. So, our first committee, is our budget finance committee. The committee chair is Lisa Brewer, and unfortunately, Lisa is not with us tonight. So, regardless, I'll kind of step in and do my best to drive here. Minutes of the way. Board members, if you'll look in your packets for the financials ending February 28th of this year. And there notice about Linebaugh, Smyrna, NGL location, Equal, and the Tech. And then follow that or by library branch. The Linebaugh pages. Numbers have 2 pages. Smyrna is 2 pages. NGL, 2. Equal has 2 pages of financials. And the Tech also has 2. So, anything, any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the financials as they are stated.
All right, we've got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, ma'am. All in favor of accepting these financials, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Perfect. Thank you all very much. Now, our next one is the bylaws and policies committee, and believe it or not, we do not have a person in this. So there is nothing to report from bylaws and policies at this time. Next up will be development and acquisition. Wiley Hilton. Nothing. Thank you, sir. Next would be facilities maintenance. Also, back to Riley Hilton.
And I do have something on this. Last month, one of these items that carry over Mr. Sanger to go over a couple of things. On the first item, the pressure washing at the Smyrna Library last month, Ms. Taylor had 2 bids on it. They got 2 bids, and we talked about it. And for a board policy, says for any expenses from $500 to $4,999.99, have to have 3 verbal or written bids, be between $5,000 and $9,999. They have to have 3 written bids. All this time. And so since then she had got her bid. Also, normally, if there is money in the line item in a maintenance line item, it does not require board approval for any expenditure under $10,000. There are a couple of exceptions for most of things that can go over 10,000. But for normal expenditures, as long as they follow they have to go through the board. Why we're looking at it here is because there is no money in the maintenance reserve for starting. We have always, for several years now, the town council, when we have put in a 0 amount that money. So therefore, any maintenance expenditure, just like this, has to come out of their reserves for these small lots. So that requires board action. So to kind of get back to it, we do have 3 bids on this. Follow the policy. The low bid is J&J Lawn Care and Pressure Washing out of Laverne for $3,500. Ms. Taylor is comfortable with them, so I make a motion that we approve the allowing her to pull the $3,500 out of the reserves for the front library to pay for the pressure washing.
All right. Second. All right, we have a motion and a second to take the company L&L, correct?
So many people.
I heard the burn is right there. Veal. Yes. We will take veal. The person with the low bid, I will work. Okay. All in favor of this, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations.
Okay, on the second item, we went ahead and included this on the carpet cleaning and the flooring. Since that time, we're going to try to have our maintenance people do the spot cleaning. So we're going to hold off on this topic for right now.
Okay. And so that wraps it up for development of facilities maintenance. Thank you, Robbie, a whole lot. Y'all, if you ever need a good hardware store, it's literally right just over here. That's his family. And I say that to be honest. That's serving on the board is people who live here.
He's not my real grandpa, but he
One person privilege.
Yes.
It is hard to hear from over on that side of the room. We couldn't hear half of what he said.
Okay.
So if we could speak into the mics, that's going to be very important, because we didn't hear what all he said at all. No, I think we're okay.
Well, we got somebody from Laverne to do pressure.
Oh, from last meeting, that's what we were doing.
Yeah, but we're not going to do that second.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Now, our nominating committee, Ben Gross.
Mr. Chairman, there's nothing to report.
All right, thank you, sir. Our personnel committee, Marcy.
I do have something to report, Mr. Chairman. If you look on page 21, board of your packet, I believe they pronounced the company Dieters in Todd rather than what we've been saying. But I talked to Jim Dieters, that's how he said his company name. And on page 21, we find that in Jim Dieters' letter, the posting for the job search ad went live March 3rd. And as of March 5th, Dieters and Todd already had 1 applicant. The deadline for the applications is March 28th. We must decide which day during the week, April 7th, is a good day to schedule the semi-final Zoom interviews with the board. later on in your packet, we say this, there is information that you might, if you have not already read about the job description, they do have that in there. So if you will please look at your calendars, we need to look at the week evenings that we can do a Zoom interview. Is that how you would like to do this, sir?
So far, so good. April 7th to the 11th, correct?
Yes, sir.
What happens on April 12th, Saturday, April 12th, what happens?
Fundraiser.
Bingo, thank you.
Plus, it's been shared 32 times.
Folks, do we want to stick with the Monday like we always do?
Monday would be great if everybody's available for that day. All right, so we put one day down for Monday, because I guess we have to get Jim Peters to agree to this as well. I guess that would be just the board, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so Monday would be Monday.
And this is all the jump you said.
Yes, and I guess some of the applicants, so Zoom one would be our first choice would be Monday the 7th. And then what would you like to do? I'm not available on the 8th. Or the 9th. I could manage the 10th if I need to. Or then I'm available the 11th. The 10th. All right, let's do the 10th. It's our second. So we will do that as our second choice. Next thing that we need to look at, Jim, decide which day is we're going for final interviews, April 26th or May 3rd, which is good. I'm not available April 26th. And Corey says she's not available either. So May 3rd, all right, and Dina says she's not available on April 26th. So is May 3rd good for people? May 3rd's good. So we're going to tell them May 3rd. Everybody agree on that? The last two, I guess. I would assume, does that work for you?
Pick a time, I think we should.
I may have something on the 7th, but I can give you, we can push it back.
Well, see, it's a Zoom call.
Yeah.
We can do it from home.
Yeah, I've got a meeting at my other one that will be going on at 5.
Okay.
You want to? We will have
Yes, sir.
If you could, on the May 3rd, Saturday, this morning, the arthritis forum, we could have that mid-morning or later. So we don't have to-
That's fine with me because I think it might help us today. Particular time from anyone?
Say after 10.
After 10, okay.
10:30, is that good?
10:30.
Office on Dow Street. Got the library at Limeball itself.
Yeah, I would just do it at my.
I will try to get the conference room on to make sure it's as well.
Thank you.
We have on this. So we're gonna have to make sure that whatever is on this, and thinking back to when this, where a previous board did this now, I want to say in 2008 or 2009, when we hired Rita, if my memory is correct, I'm not sure if anybody Brandon was involved with the library then, but I believe, and I'm not sure if it was the library board, it was the Friends Group, or whoever, had a reception at one time for like library board meetings, foundation. I got involved with it, being involved with the foundation, and I'm not sure, probably some of our elected officials were all kind of together, and it was held, I believe, at Limeball. It's kind of like a little informal get to together for people to meet the time was then. So I'm not sure if that's something we may want to try to do to make it significant, maybe a more informal situation or not, but I just wanted to throw out that idea.
Thoughts? Anyone? Get some nods and yes, I think it's a great idea too. I really do, because that's one of the things we've asked is this person have a good relationship with the funding bodies. So yeah, great idea.
Yes, that is a good idea.
It's a good plan.
That is a good idea, yeah.
If that's something, if you want to come up with you and find or wherever.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to compliment the company that we hired to do the search. I think it's Dyer.
Dyer. No, I'm fine. We can go back and forth on the name of this company, okay?
But when they called, and he was so professional and so nice, and the questions that he asked were very professional. So I think we picked a good company to go with.
I agree.
I'm anxious to hear back from him.
I agree. He has sent in this letter. The job ad began posting on Monday, March 3rd via the website TLA. Openings for that, for a director.
The company is probably fine. Is that just for the record?
April 10th meeting probably at 5, yes ma'am.
It's Saturday, May 3rd, 10:38. Great, all three. Oh, percent, yeah. Nice. Thank y'all.
And those first two, we're gonna make a decision on one or the other, and they're gonna be Zoom calls, yes.
Okay.
That's the conclusion of my report.
Thank you, Morris. Everybody good? All right, now, next up, strategic planning, Corey.
Yeah, I was absent last time, but I understand that there was some discussion of just delaying the next iteration or update of our strategic plan until we hire a new director. So just for the record, I'm going to put that in here, but I also wanted to say we have so many new board members that I will be sending out just the latest copy of the strategic plan, as well as some data that has been collected in the last few years that relates to some of our chairs' interest in obtaining feedback from the community and all, just so everybody's got it. So I don't think we need to vote or anything, I just wanted to make note of that.
Good idea. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. And last on there is the ad hoc committee, and that would be mine. There is no ad hoc at this time. However, what I would like to say this past week, they apologize, Phil, I'm sorry they got back with you on this, but we haven't forgotten you. What I would like us to do, if we can, is to find out, what for example, thank you. And I'll use Murphy. That's a good number. And I'm just very curious as to why
out the fucking box.
Of the 4% that do have a library card. How many don't? And those that do use it, how often? So what is it, the patrons really want from a library? And I've joked with me, and bless her heart, she's very nice about it. I did not realize you can borrow Go Pro cameras, that our library system has Go Pro cameras for you. That's fantastic. And here I sit, and I didn't know. And could that be why people don't use library, because they don't know? So that would be the community, but that's like the strategic. Let's get a director, and we'll move forward with that. But the MTSU hasn't said no, but they said we'll get around to you as soon as we can. So, all right. Our next chapter is chapter 7, reports from our libraries and support organizations. First up would be Ron Bob, if y'all are here, if y'all want to, or if you want to just go over the letter.
So, as needed, I have received notes from the text just to add a few things that happened in the report.
Good.
Their pie day was a success. March, they had a math-related game. High because they material say that's a success, and they now have pre-registration in place for April and possibly 2 sessions. So that is the only needed addition I have to the
I'm going to ask, these right here, were these posted? I'll tell you what, since y'all were sitting up there, the Technology Engagement Center, not good school. You have to pay attention, but they will teach you for free how to use computer programs. One in particular is called Handbook. And that's where I'm learning to use it. It's at the Tech, and these are free of charge. It's that our library system offers. When we begin to buy what that's our bookmobile, Eagle, Historical Research Center. Leslie, do you say anything about the Friends of Lava Library? Yes. You are doing it.
You know you're actually a sponsor, but there's aspects of it I'm not quite sure. So this might give you a good chance, a good audience to advertise that fundraiser.
Sure, I will do my best. So the fundraiser is going to be on April the 12th. It's from 2 to 5, and it is a family-friendly event. It is a derby-style event. There is a promo video that is very entertaining, but we will have courses. We have sponsors who decided to, based on the level that all sporting literacy, and you can purchase tickets to that event. Out. So definitely check out the website, and you can find out more at Wild Goose Chase.
Do we
thing to just make note from the system director report. I'm going to be out of the office April 18th through 22nd, so I'll at that next meeting, but I decided to go with Kat.
Nice.
Okay, do you need anything from Stone River?
Only that I will have the standards report and that pledge report and the comparison report at the next meeting, and you will all email that beforehand. This is a lot that they can look at.
Well, folks, that ends chapter 7, and that's our reports from all the libraries and director and Stone River Regional Library. Now, chapter 8. Chapter 8 is part 2 of public comment.
Oh God, here we go. Listen, listen, listen.
Let's see, let's start off with Michelle Johnson. Is she here? Michelle, if so, come on down. And whenever you're ready, you see the clock go your way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and our community members. I have written something that I thought was eloquent, but I have since sidelined that on my way here. I felt moved to switch that up. And I appreciate wherever Katie went. I don't know where she went. And made, and I just want to affirm that I feel that one of the things that's missing from the whole book scenario is love, and I just felt compelled that love was what was needed to be shared here tonight. And coming from a person that was a child that was exposed to all kinds of things that children shouldn't be exposed to. So I have a voice of a child, and I can tell you that those things implored me to do things to myself and to my body that I wish I never did. And subsequently had to have surgery to remove things that I put in my body because I didn't look like the magazines or the videos or the things that I got exposed to as a child, or even in books that my parents had that, you know, they didn't see the need to protect me from. And subsequently, I have nerve damage, I have, and that was that I enhanced myself on the front. I decided that that was no longer good, my health was a factor. And so what I want to share tonight, that if we cause children to go down this road, they can make decisions that they will regret for the rest of their lives. And when we expose them to things that they don't have a level to understand, and it's really sexualizing them.
Oh
Coming
my
from a
God.
person that has had that happen, it's very detrimental. So I want to share this because children, they don't have the capacity for this, and if we say, and we love you, that we should want to tell that person the truth, okay? Love is truth. And if we segue into perpetuating something that isn't true, then we are in fact doing the opposite. Then if I was to tell you I agree, and I tell you that I hate you, and that's not how I feel. We shouldn't want that to be what goes forward. We deliver the opposite when we do not deliver the truth. We're in fact giving something hate. If we believe something and we don't tell the truth, then we're hating somebody. And so I say to say deliver. No.
Hold on.
No. I'm saying what I want, because we love our children so much sometimes.
Thank you. Keep it on the time. With us tonight. Heather, are you here? Is Heather here? Okay, good. All right, now, y'all, if y'all don't mind, everybody was very good about the first 5. Let's please, if you don't mind, understand.
This is the crazy religious lady.
Be respectful of each of the 5 speakers. Oh, yes, sir. Okay. Left?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, this one comes
Yes.
in this one. This one working?
No, no, no.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Hello and happy St. Patrick's Day. My name is Heather Cook and I'm resident of Rutherford County. Like St. Patrick, I'm here to shine a light into the darkness, to stand for the truth in opposition to the deception of transgender ideology and gender confusion, which ultimately leads to gender dysphoria and the mutilation of our children. Deception is to cause someone to accept something as true or valid that is actually false and invalid. Science has proven that every cell in our bodies identifies us as male or female. Just as God created us, no hormone or surgery can change that. To lead children to believe anything contrary to that is an abomination for which we will be held accountable. Evil is being is good, and good is powerful. Truth seems to be nowhere to be found, and whoever shuns evil becomes a prey. The only way to overcome deception is with the truth. And whether we choose to believe it or not, this is the truth. The only eternal, unchanging truth that will overcome the lies being told to our children and to us. The answer to everything is found in this book. The brief time between our birth and death is an open book test, and all the answers are in this book. Purpose for their lives, just as He created them to be. He loves them just as they are, and He does not make mistakes.
Yes.
This is the instruction manual that He's given us to live this life as He intended us to live. We have to stop lying to our children. We have to overcome evil with good. We have to teach them the truth so they will recognize the lie. I am not speaking out of judgment or condemnation. I'm speaking out of love and compassion. It breaks my heart to see these being deceived and teaching that deception to their children. We have to teach them the truth so that
Okay.
School, my soon-to-be 4-year-old, I rely. I have a million books in my house, but there is not any books in the world.
Yeah.
I rely heavily on the library. All that being said, I'm going to take a different approach to this issue than some people have said. Their children. And everyone who loves their children have come up with. My oldest son, so we sometimes have to do things a little bit different than other families do. And that's okay, we adapt, we do it. But the 3 came out. And I don't know if you guys have seen it or
Oh
not.
God, here we go.
It's not a controversial movie. People love it. It's cute. There's stands to control. We could not go see it because the plot of that movie was that this troll had been was about them having a band back together and they were a boy band. Another troll, but I knew if my son had seen the sweet little dance, he would be devastated. Devastated. It was not right for my. So many other people's children. My son's now 12 and he loves it. It's a cute movie, okay? But and I understand we're not a government agency, we're a library. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but we don't need the library for our other parents. More books is always. We don't need to make decisions for each other. I've heard so many of you saying, we need to teach my kids. You need to teach your there is correctability and thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
Come on down. All right.
All right, thank you so much. Hi, I'm Kelly Northcutt. I live here in Murfreesboro. I've lived here for over 20 years and raised my 3 children here and utilized all the summer programs, summer reading. It's a wonderful asset. That some people don't believe that training, and that's okay. I mean, and their children, as in my case. And to serve all of the citizens of Rutherford County.
Yep.
All, not just the citizens that don't believe that it's true, but and we the multitudes. We have capacity to hold one even in your lifetime. I'm sure you changed your minds about some things that you held dear earlier in your life. Believe everyone no book has ever harmed anyone.
Amen.
So my plea to you is leave it on the shelf. If it is not for you, leave it on the shelf.
Amen.
You can control what your children take out. You can talk to them and express your beliefs to them. That is not just our right, it's our responsibility. But allow me to do the same for my children. If you're uncomfortable,
Our last speaker, Chris Warren.
Yes.
Chris Warren.
Is this a good one?
Thank you, Chris. Sir. I'm glad I was here. I was never notified that I was taken off the wait list, so I have nothing prepared to tell you. But I will share a little bit about myself. I am a pastor here in Rutherford County. I pastor a church just down the street. I have many people in my congregation who have many different identities. Some people in this room would probably not agree with God's image, and they deserve to be seen as that. I believe everybody's coming from somewhere. I don't know any of you very well. I don't know what your backstory is. I'm really sorry for those of you who have had bad things happen to you in the past, and that's changed the way that you think about things. I'm concerned about something, though, that I continue to hear. I've been to the school board meetings a couple of times as well. And something that I continue to hear is emphasis on the use of the Bible. I'm a pastor. I study the Bible. I believe in the Bible. I love the Bible. It's a great work. It's got a lot of sex in it. It's got a lot of stuff that you guys wouldn't want your children to be able to check out from the library. If that's a problem, if sex is a problem, then the Bible's not the book for you. But the Bible is the book for you, right?
Amen.
So there are other things in the Bible that are important. And there are things in these books that people are wanting to take off the shelves that are also important. They are life-giving. The statistics for suicide attempts for children who are LGBTQ+, off the charts. It's
true.
It doesn't.
That was recently debunked.
By who? I don't know what story. I don't know what she's referring to, but every article that I've ever read has shown that kids who are LGBTQ are much more likely to attempt suicide. Because the society tells them that they're wrong, that they're not good enough, that they don't fit in, that they're not as good as people who are heterosexual. That's just not people we should be judging. I think that if we just get to have the materials that will help them to feel good about themselves, there's no harm in that. You might think there's harm in that, but I work with kids at my church all the time who are very hurt by people who would say things like that. And I'm sorry that you feel the way you do, but I'm going to continue to love all of my kids in my church, whether they're heterosexual, homosexual, LGBTQ, IA, whatever, because they're God's children.
Amen. Hallelujah, Jesus.
Abraham Lincoln was in front of everybody. Y'all kept it under 3 minutes, all 10 of you. So, with that, that wraps up our public comments. Now we move into chapter 9, other business. Board members, if it's okay, I have a request to flip-flop our two slip books. Is that okay with the board?
What's the rationale for that?
Just to go over the bottom first.
I think the discussion for the first one will come into play on the second.
Okay. Does everybody agree with this? Everybody want to go with number 2 or number 1?
I personally think that digging into some specifics of the book would make the more general conversation go quicker and we get home to dinner faster.
Because that's what's important.
I think we should go over the book first.
I second that.
Is that okay? Okay. So do we have a book with us? Request by a Murfreesboro resident.
Douchebag.
And she wrote, the question on the form, let me back up. The book is titled, Me and My Dysphoria Monster. Author, Laura Kate Dale. And our resident got the book, checked it out, and the question on the form, do you represent yourself or an organization? She represents herself, and she wrote, showed the book to many, many people. They all agree that it would cause harm to their children.
They don't show it to them.
To what in the material do you object? Please be specific. Attach additional pages if needed. And she wrote, false info. Did you read, view, or listen to the entire work? Yes. For what age group would you recommend this material? None. Are you aware of any review or critiques of this work? Yes or no? She checked both. Recommended action to be taken? Withdraw. And so with that, if anybody wants to look at the book, excuse me, Andy has it. The recommendation from staff remain in the collection in its current location. We got the book September 2022, and since that time, it has been checked out 8 times. The staff's recommendation is the request for consideration states this book includes false information. Gender dysphoria refers to psychological distress that results from an incongruence between one's sex, assigned at birth, and one's gender identity, and is included in the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition. Yes.
I would like to see this book withdrawn.
Okay.
And my reasoning is, I was a school teacher for 30 years. I've been a Bible school teacher for 45 years. I was disappointed in this book for a number of reasons. It's beautiful on the outside, beautiful pictures. But when I looked at it and read the book, and I read it from cover to cover and everything that was in it, and I do that with all of the books, and I take this every book selection that we have very seriously. I looked at it, I think, one, the book is too mature material for children. When I came on this board, my thing was, I was here for children, and that was my whole thing. My field was early childhood education. And that's what I have my degree in, and also education, etc. I believe that we must protect our children. When I brought my own children to the library, I brought them in and I let them pick books off the shelf and they got to read them. You can't do that now. My daughter brings her children and she gets books off the library shelves. And you can't, she has to look at everything before she can even let
I mean,
her
she has to be a
children look at the
parent.
books.
How shocking.
Because it has to be reviewed.
She parents, I know
And
that's
that
terrible.
There's no trust in our library now. It's because it has to be very, you have to look and see it's okay material for your young child. So I think that we're causing confusion in children. I did not have any children in my program or in all the 30 years that I taught that had difficulty. I'm not saying that there's not. I believe that there are children that have some confusion, but I also think that we're putting things in children's heads at times. It's not, if one of my grandsons came to me and said, I want to be an astronaut. Do I sign him up that day and put him in NASA? No, I don't do that. I'm going to help them with whatever it might be. But I just don't think, and another thing, I had some difficult problems in my own. I was sexually assaulted as a college student. And I had to find my own way. I think that we have to help people wherever they are in their life.
Books do that.
But I think that the problem is when we give people books that they are not ready for, then we have a problem in confusing them. We're planting the seed, and we're not helping where we need to be for young children, and we've got to protect them, and this book does not do this.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The book would be found in what part of I can't get it.
It's the picture book, easy.
Okay, but 616. Am I right? It's in the.
It's all ages.
Okay.
The picture books can vary.
Okay.
Reading.
I was getting mixed up because of doing the research for myself. I think the book was by the publisher was 616. Amy, yes, ma'am, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's time to make my statement. I asked for that, and I'm going to try to be fast, okay? As a board member of our library system, I believe that the book Me and My Body Dysmorphia should be removed from our collection, particularly because it's not appropriate for children ages 6 to 10. At this stage of development, children are still vulnerable and lack the maturity to process complex topics like body dysmorphia without proper guidance. They require age-appropriate, scientifically accurate education about their bodies, focusing on the biological truth of male and female anatomy. This is not a matter of personal beliefs or religious convictions. It is about common sense and responsibility we have as adults to guide children in their formative years. Just as we would not allow a child to smoke, drive a car, or engage in other activities that could harm them, we must also set boundaries on the information we expose to them. Providing materials that are not developmentally suitable can confuse and mislead them during a critical period of growth. Furthermore, the American College of Pediatricians has raised concerns about the potential harm of transgender interventions on children. I have the article right there. They emphasize that children need guidance and support to navigate their developmental time, rather than exposure to concepts that may not align with their cognitive and emotional readiness. While the book may have value for some people and older audience, it is not appropriate for younger children who are still forming their understanding of themselves and the world around them. Finally, as stewards of taxpayer dollars, we must ensure
are allocated to the materials that are both educational, suitable, and intended audience. It is our duty to prioritize the well-being and developmental time of the children in our community by providing them with content that is safe, constructive, and aligned with the developmental needs. Some may say you are against intellectual freedom. While intellectual freedom is important, it does not mean exposing young children to material that is not age-appropriate. Protecting children from potentially confusing them and harmful content is not censorship. It is a responsibility. Libraries can maintain intellectual freedom by placing such books in other sections. We talked about that before. Parental and personal choice. You may say you are against parental and personal choice. While parents play a key role in guiding the children's reading, a public library should also consider its responsibility toward the community at large. Taxpayer-funded resources should prioritize materials that are broadly accepted as suitable for the developmental stages of young readers. Parents can still see these specific books outside of the library. I'm saying they cannot. Also, you might say you're not representing the matters of the community, the matters of our society. Representing is indeed valuable, but the key concern here is the age group being targeted. Sensitive topics like body dysmorphia may be meaningful for older children and adults who can process them, but exposing young, impressible children prematurely may do more harm than good. Representing must align with their developmental readiness. You may also say development of critical thinking. What is for that? While critical thinking is essential, children ages 6 to 10 are in a stage of development where they are still forming their foundational understanding of the world. Introducing overly complex or controversial topics at this stage can overwhelm them rather than empower them. Critical thinking can be cultivated with age-appropriate material tailored to their cognitive ability. And that can continue on and on. I yield my time. Thank you very much.
I make a motion that this book be removed from the Lombard Library.
So, Chairman, I believe the motion was made, so that would be a second.
Okay, so, thanks for reminding me. We have a motion and a second to remove the book, Me and My Dysphoria Monster, from the Linebaugh shelf. Any other further discussion on this motion?
Please.
Go right ahead.
Obviously, you all feel very passionate about this, many of you, and I appreciate that so much. I do think that it's very clear that you all don't think it's appropriate for this age group. I think there is a serious impact of us removing it completely in terms of serving our community, and honestly also in terms of possibly being sued. And I think we need to talk about that before we make a final decision.
It's exactly like this. What they're doing is illegal. The courts have already ruled.
As far as serving our community, clearly we have community members here who do want the book, who do want books like this to be in our library. And Marcy, I feel completely for what you're saying as well, that you feel like a child just can't walk in. When all this started with the decency ordinance, some time ago, I had joked that there would be a puppies and kitties section of the library, where everything is just, it's not controversial. We know we can go up and it's not going to offend anybody.
But I would also submit to you that there are other books that also are something that a child can pick up and you're not ready for. I can remember bringing my children and they might pick a book up that's about the death of a grandparent, and I'm not ready to talk to my young children about death yet. Or a gravely ill child, or racism, or slavery, or the Trail of Tears. All these things are things that also exist in the picture book section. So this is only one other topic. I want to say that you are talking about people I care about very much. And again, I also care about your grandchildren's experience and your children's experience too. And again, I thank the speakers tonight for sharing what you've had to say. I know you care very deeply from whatever perspective you have. But a library is supposed to bring a community together. And if we cannot find a way to serve all our community, then we are not doing our job.
Amen.
What I would hope is that we could at least move the book up to the next level or to some level, and so it is still available to people, at least to parents, to go check it out if they are seeing things about their children and they want to be able to have some sort of.
It is illegal to move the book. Wichita Falls, Texas.
I know.
Educate yourself, people.
God forbid.
So, I think this book, along with kind of other books that talk about transgenderism and promote gender confusion, these books contain misleading information and incorrect facts, making them unsuitable for children. As a system, we have an obligation to ensure that educational material that we provide have accurate information. And that we can and should remove books that are misleading. So to the point of the legality of this action.
Wichita Falls,
The
Texas.
American Civil Liberties Union of Florida, Greater Miami chapter, sued Miami-Dade County School Board.
And they lost.
Now this is a school board, so it's not a direct connection, but we often, including school board versus PICO, we all often use school board decisions and books and libraries to look at how public libraries should also handle those things. So the Miami Library removed a book that was about Cuba because it was factually incorrect. And this notable case involved Miami-Dade School Board removing the book A Visit to Cuba in 2006. Presented an overly favorable and factually challenged the decision in court. It was first, and the U.S. Court of Appeals on the 11th Circuit ultimately upheld the school board's removal of the book. That was based on the fact the book was not factually correct and therefore did not have educational value.
So how is this book not factually correct?
Let me get to that. Let me pull it up. So on page 16, the book says, quote, "Sometimes the doctor isn't right. Sometimes people are told that they're a boy, when actually that person knows that they are a girl."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's the point?
Boys are boys and girls are girls.
Not always.
There are two sexes, male and female.
Turner syndrome.
Guys, please. Okay, everybody was respectful when the other 10 people spoke. Let these 8 people speak, okay? That's all I'm asking. We appreciate you being here, but let us discuss this. If we can't do it, we can't call it, okay? Just simple as that. Cody, please finish.
There are two sexes, male and female. These are determined by reproductive anatomy and the presence of either XX, female, or XY, male, sex chromosomes. Now, there are rare medical conditions where individuals may have atypical chromosomal representation or hormonal patterns. However, these do not constitute separate sexes, but rather variations within the male-female biological framework. From a strictly biological and reproductive perspective, sex is binary, as it is based on the role of the organism that the organism plays in reproduction, either producing large gametes or small gametes. So one may ask, well, there are books in the children's section that may not be totally factually correct. For example, Clifford. Many books in our children's section are not scientifically accurate. We have a giant red dog. We have mice that can talk. And we have a wardrobe that's the doorway to another realm. However, these books do not claim to reflect reality. They are not presenting themselves as factually correct. Although they may present a moral lesson, they are generally for entertainment and aren't making factual claims about biology or mental health. Dogs have 4 legs. Any dog that deviates from that description has something wrong with it, but it's still a dog. There is no educational value in encouraging children to participate in delusion or sexual perversion.
I would like to do a point of clarification. So this book, Me and My Dysphoria Monster. Gender dysphoria is whether not everyone who is transgender has gender dysphoria. So if we're talking about something that is factual and making sure that it's real, whether that psychological distress that comes from an incongruence between one's sex and one's gender identity. That's a fact. That's from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder. It is a diagnosis. So for this specific book, dysphoria is a diagnosis that is true.
But again, on page 16, and several times throughout the book, but on page 16, it says sometimes the doctor isn't right. Sometimes people are told they are a boy when actually the person knows they are a girl.
So Cody, I took that to be a description of the child expressing their dysphoria, of expressing their discomfort that something seems wrong. Nowhere in that book is there actually something said that, oh, this person is going to have a medical intervention, or they're going to do anything. To me, it's a character expressing their discomfort.
On page 29, it says, a trans person might go to a doctor and get they may eventually get surgery to alter aspects of their body. Any medication altered, such as hormone delay medication, is reversible. This is also, so you're incorrect. The book is advocating for modification. It's advocating for surgery or hormone treatment process, which, by the way, is illegal in the state of Tennessee.
It is.
Do what? I'm sorry. Oh.
Yeah, so it does say may.
So, if the book said may, hey, transgender people may commit suicide, and present that as a viable option, that would be terrible. This TCA 668-33-101 says, quote, therefore, it is the purpose, this is Tennessee law, therefore, it is the purpose of this chapter to prohibit medical procedures from being administered to or performed on minors when the purpose of the medical procedure is to enable a minor to identify with or live as a purported identity inconsistent with the minor's sex, or treat purported discomfort or distress from a discordance between the minor's sex and asserted identity. This book is advocating something that is illegal in the state of Tennessee.
Now, we've had this kind of discussion before, though, that just because something's in a book does not mean that is illegal, does not mean that we cannot have that book in our library.
So I would say that if there's any book that's advocating for a minor to commit a crime in Tennessee, we should remove it.
Ban the Bible, whatever.
I don't want you to say that. Banning books is wrong.
I know. And I'm just picking up, because in my research of the book, there was an adult guide. And it is, they're not numbered. I don't know what page number this is. The guide aims to offer adults useful terminology which they may find helpful as a supplement to this book. Terms included may not be directly involved in the story, but offer a vocabulary for answering questions children might have about gender. And then under medical transition, I'm quoting directly from the book. Medical transition is all of the parts of a transition a doctor is involved in, which require waiting lists and assessments. As an adult, a trans person might go to a doctor to get medication that puts their current treatment on hold. They may start hormone replacement therapies to develop physical characteristics that align more with their gender, and then eventually get surgery to alter aspects of their body. Transition-related surgeries are never performed on children and typically require several years of doctor's visits before anything moves forward. Any medication offered in late teens, such as hormone-delaying medication, is reversible and can be halted if the teen changes their mind about how they feel. I've just been out.
That's factually incorrect on the
Okay, Dr. Cody.
Where did you get your degree?
Okay.
Thanks, Dr. Cody.
You got me. Does anybody else want to review the book? Anyone? Any other discussion?
Christopher Falls, Texas.
So we've got a motion and a second on the floor.
You're ignoring
Yes,
the law.
Dan, if you get the mic on.
I think based on my understanding of current First Amendment jurisprudence that is binding on us as a publicly funded entity, I don't think I can constitutionally ban a book of this sort. It's not because I agree with it by any stretch, but I just don't, I can't. As an officer of the court, I cannot vote for something I know that I can't constitutionally do.
First Amendment, baby.
Thank you. Bravo.
Board members, any other discussion on this motion?
Just vote.
If there's no further discussion, I do need to take a voice vote. The reason being, the last time we voted on the book, we did it, or a roll call vote, sorry. We did a voice vote. There was no mistaking if it passed or failed. But we were asked a question, who did what? And we literally couldn't answer the question, who voted and how. And so with that, if there's no further discussion, we'll go to a roll call vote on this. So, the motion to restate is that the book, the Minus Scorpion Monster, is removed from the Library Library. And the one that says the names are printed, Ben Gross.
No.
Raleigh Holden.
Abstain. Come on, Raleigh.
Sam Hudson. Yes.
Boo.
Dina. Yeah.
Yes.
Shame.
Susan Quisenberry.
Yes.
Shame.
Corey Wells.
No.
Thank you, God.
Marcy Woodard.
Yes.
Shame.
There it is.
Cody York.
Yes.
We have 5 yes to remove, 2 no, and 1 abstain. So the
Did
motion
you vote,
is-
Phil? I didn't get,
No, I vote in tiebreaker.
so how'd you get mine? I'm sorry, I may be wrong.
The yeses are Sam, Dina,
I'm just Dina, sorry.
Susan, Marcy, and Cody. The noes were Ben and yourself, and Wally abstained. So it's 5-2-1. So the motion has passed.
Nazis burn books.
Thank you.
You're all Nazis.
To be honest with you, I can't understand the words you're saying. It doesn't matter. I mean, just please, let us try to finish.
It does matter.
Let us try to finish.
It does matter.
Okay. Our other discussion is remove material that promotes, encourages, advocates for, or normalizes transgenderism or gender confusion in minors. We would like to lead this off with this discussion. Go ahead.
I will ask for this to be on the agenda, so I'll move. I'm making, so I move that staff be directed to remove material that promotes, encourages, advocates, and normalizes, transgenderism or gender confusion in minors.
I second the motion.
My thought process for this is much of which I've already presented in the previous book, right? So I believe we can remove legally. We have the right to remove books that are factually incorrect. I believe that we also have an obligation to protect children.
Then let them read.
So there's the myth. There's the myth.
Start protecting the trans kids.
Okay, guys, okay, cut. This board deserves no respect now. Go ahead.
So there's a myth that encouraging and affirming gender confusion protects children and decreases the amount of mental health risk. And this is incorrect. In the study entitled Examining Gender-Specific Mental Health Risks After Gender-Affirming Surgery, a national database study published February 25th, 2025. And this was, it was conducted by the University of Texas, I believe. The conclusion is that gender-affirming surgery is associated with an increased risk of mental health issues. So we have an obligation to protect children. Our policy manual, EM 402, section 402 of our manual, talks about our collection. And it says the following guidelines are considered in the evaluation of library material in order to determine if and when removal is appropriate. And the second point on that list is misleading or dangerous information.
Like the bug?
So this is existing policy. Now, Board of Education versus PICO from 1982 is the standing, the standing Supreme Court case that is often cited. And it says that public libraries operate as limited public forums, meaning that they cannot remove books solely based on disagreement with the content. And it applies more to schools than to public libraries, but we just, that's been used in public libraries for decades. However, libraries can set content-neutral policies to restrict material that is obscene, illegal, or harmful to minors. Gender confusion and transgender ideology are harmful to children.
No.
Children's cognitive and emotional capacity evolve gradually with topics, gender identity, and long-term consequences of transition typically develop in early adulthood. Introducing complex gender ideologies at young ages may lead to confusion, anxiety, or uncertainty rather than clarity. Some studies indicate that gender dysphoria experienced in childhood does not necessarily persist into adulthood. Research from the American Psychiatric Association.
You can't even say the word right. What are you doing?
That a significant percentage of children will experience gender dysphoria and eventually identify with the biological sex as they mature. Presenting gender transitioning as a normative solution for children might prematurely solidify temporary feelings into lasting decisions. The reality is, most people feel like they're in, or feel like they don't belong in their body when they go through puberty. This is a very natural experience that most people have.
Is it coming up?
And we need to protect children from misleading and dangerous information and have them act on a temporary feeling with long-lasting consequences. In the study, development of during adolescence and early adulthood, it's stated that 11% of the participants reported gender non-connectedness. So 11% of the children studied experienced something that they could consider non-connectedness with their gender, their birth sex. This continues to decrease with age, with only 4% still feeling that way when they were 18. This study tells us that we've got to be careful reinforcing temporary ideas as a child matures. In another study, a follow-up study of boys with gender identity disorder, this study showed that even social transitioning would help ferment gender confusion in children. And in children that didn't transition, the vast majority of them outgrew their confusion. Social transitioning appears to have had a massive effect, 4x, on preventing boys with gender dysphoria from getting better. Simply put, social transitioning hurts children. It is a dangerous practice and should not be encouraged. There is also the reality that often gender confusion is a social contagion. Emerging research indicates that rapid onset gender dysphoria can occur in clusters, particularly among adolescents influenced by peers and media exposure. Books and media that actively encourages transitioning may unintentionally exacerbate social contagion, increasing the number of youths pursuing medical intervention without comprehensive psychological evaluation. In conclusion, books that promote transgender ideology are harmful to children. There are lawsuits currently being filed all over the United States where children are suing their doctors for doing terrible, terrible harm to them.
That is not true.
The state and federal government has determined that these are harmful practices. There's an executive order that was signed January 28, 2025.
By a Nazi.
That says, accordingly, it is the policy in the United States that it will not fund, sponsor, promote, assist, or support the so-called transition of a child from one sex to another. And it will rigorously enforce all laws that prohibit or limit these destructive and life-altering procedures. I've already mentioned the TCA that makes it very clear the state of Tennessee doesn't support transitioning children. Now, in fact, I think this week is being debated additional legislation to that effect. The fact that some children in our community struggle with gender confusion means that we should be equipping them to successfully deal with the dangers of and root causes of that danger.
Books do that.
Suicide is one of those dangers. We should also look at the stories of detransitioning people, the testimonies of these people. We, in a library, we would never keep books, I hope. We would never keep books that promote or encourage or normalize cutting, self-harm, anorexia, suicide. These are topics that we would protect children from, not expose them or encourage them. And like I said earlier, this is also illegal behavior. So, by keeping these books in our collection, we are jeopardizing federal funding and possibly state funding. Quoting from a second executive order defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government, signed January 20th, 2025. Federal funds shall not be used to promote gender ideology. Each agency shall assess grant conditions and grantee preferences and ensure grant funds do not promote gender ideology. We are jeopardizing the federal funding of our funding bodies if we continue to have books that advocate gender ideology.
So which is it?
So
you said you don't get federal
I
funding.
would recommend that, so basically this, what I believe this motion would do is direct staff to bring any book to us that may violate this directive. We will consider these books in order to fully I believe that will meet the same standard or basically
Cody, this section removed. It doesn't say to take off. The way I read this action, you want these books taken off of. It does say remove and bring back to the library. What this action item is now. On this side. Was it hard? He did not involve in this type of on to removing books. If there was a book up for reconsideration, it went through staff, through our director, and they had that.
Amen.
With the state law, and we have conformed to that. And so now, what we are looking at doing, part of what I have a problem with, when we start taking and to removing books, we are stating that no one will have access to that book, whether they are a 16-year-old or a 60-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Issues with us pulling those kind of books and saying that adults do not have access to certain types of books. Even if I may not agree with it, you may not agree with it, other people may not agree with those ideas in there. They still have that right. And
thank you.
I have seen on this thing, and I have voted in the past when books have come up, and we have had to go for reconsideration of books, and I have voted to remove books that I felt contain content that was in violation of a specific state law. On this night, I have not seen where there is a state law that says that this subject matter is in violation, is against the law. And as other colleague over, or there, Mr. Benjamin mentioned, that's where I have an issue with this, because if these books are not against the law, they do not violate the law, would they then be considered a form of constitutionally protected free speech?
Yep.
Then, according to my understanding of the law, anything, whether, like I said, if I like it, don't like it, disagree, or don't disagree with it, anybody else, if a piece of literature is considered legal, then are we violating the actual law if we try to remove that? And that's where I have a concern with on that until someone can tell me what specific state laws these books violate, I have issues with this wholesale just banning a whole group of books.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was asked a question there, or at least asked for clarification. So, a couple things. One,
he knows everything.
The policy would be, hey, books that promote, encourage, normalize transgenderism or gender confusion would be removed. The process that I described would be to determine which books meet that definition, meet that criteria. So staff would be instructed to find any book that might.
You're not trusting them now.
And then bring that to the board to make.
Why would you trust them then?
Again, the logic there is to mimic what the school board, the legislature has established to be the school board's process.
They're not trusting the librarians.
So that's the answer to the policy, the policy question. So, secondly, talking about moving the books to a different section, maybe to an adult
That's
section.
illegal.
The reason why I would say that I'm not for that is if we had a book, again, the analogy I made is self-harm. If this is harmful to children, if the promotion of gender confusion and transgender ideology
Miller test.
then it's on par with self-harming, anorexia, smoking. If we had any,
that's not even remotely the same thing.
That said, hey, children, it's good to self-harm.
No book says that.
In the library, it doesn't belong. And then,
stop quoting laws you don't understand.
The library board is expending money.
Enjoy our lawsuit.
On the shelf. So by just keeping a book, we are making a decision to expend funds, taxpayer dollars, to keep those books there.
Okay.
The library does not have every book that's printed. We make decisions all the time about whether to acquire a book, or get rid of a book, to keep it on the shelf, or to not keep it on the shelf. This would just be part of that process. And then the final comment, you made a comment about banning books. We cannot ban a book. We don't have that authority. Their books are available for purchase. This body has no authority to prevent anyone from selling or buying a book anywhere.
But what I get back to is, you say that, but then what we are a public library, and it's said, we are here to serve all
nobody else has had anything
in this county. We are a diverse
That's
county.
probably true.
Sorry.
No, it is what it is.
People have said, some of the other speakers, there are books in there that they like, that they don't like, that they agree with, and they don't agree with. But if we're saying that as a library system, that we're going to limit that to certain, that we will not allow certain types of books that may be protected free speech.
They are.
And I have issues with that. And that's why I cannot support what you are trying to do right now.
Thank you.
Any other questions from any other board member? Yes, Margie, please.
When we went before the county commission, they presented a great deal of displeasure with the library because there were some books that they were not comfortable with, and they were not comfortable with funding us. And we just asked them for a lot of money. I do not want us to go through that again.
But we're going to go through a lawsuit?
I know that we have a process in place, but there are a lot of books that they may find a problem again. So I don't know what our process is, what we would do. I mean, I know there's books that come before us all the time. I'm not sure what our plans are in that respect.
Apparently to ban
So, what are your thoughts on this, Mr. Chairman?
Would it be possible that the books that deal with the subject be not moved to another area? Yeah, moved to another area. However,
That's illegal.
it would be the parent, the adult, who gets them. Rather than being on a shelf for any child, age 6 to 10, to pick and go, Mama, I want this one. It would be where an adult would come in and go, I need a book helping me to help my child with.
That's not how that works.
And not that we're making America today, but they're not out there, if that makes any sense. That these books have to be asked for specific, or the subject matter has to be asked for specific. That way, like I said, they're not out there for anyone to pick up, or thumb through, or look through. But we're not taking them off the shelf and getting rid of them totally. And that to me would be a compromise, if you will.
Well, I did some research with some people about that particular idea, and I found out that was demeaning for people to ask for books in that respect. So I'm not sure if that is an idea or not. I know that I received a lot of emails. I'm sure some of you did. It seems that our community has cried out to us and said they're not comfortable with the section of books, with the transgender books.
Not everybody.
So that is something that we need to listen to too.
Any other discussion? Anyone? Any ideas? Thoughts?
So I still feel like what Cody articulated we would do is not the way the motion is worded. And I also have a question about exactly what gender confusion means. Because I think I've had gender confusion from the time I was 1971 in second grade, and I was not allowed to listen to Casey at the Bat, because that was a story for boys. And that, I'm worried about the slippery slope of what is gender confusion. If there's a character in a book who is a boy wearing a skirt, is that gender confusion and we're going to throw it out automatically?
Shakespeare. Thank you.
Or
you know, where are the definitions? Where are the particular guidelines that we would use? You know, I think on this question of obscenity, we've got something pretty good in the Tennessee Code to follow. But as Raleigh was saying, here I feel like we've got a lot of vagueness, and if Ben wanted to jump into the conversation, I would love it too. Sorry, Ben, don't want to put you on the spot, but I did.
My understanding is, as written, the standard would not be workable, would not pass constitutional muster. Is my understanding and study of the First Amendment jurisprudence. And therefore, I would have to go no again.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but it's just this particular wording, and I'll give you an example. You know, Raleigh, you mentioned adults getting this type of content, but as the last two words, in minors, but if it's a 32-year-old who will check out a book in the adult section about this, that's okay.
Do it.
Or we're not talking about those books, are we? Do I understand that correctly?
He's not going to read it right
The
now.
motion is to talk specifically about encouraging, promoting in children.
Correct.
So a book that is, and also, it's not just the subject matter, it's the promotion of the subject matter. So if there was a book that handles, for example, let's use smoking as an example.
It's not the
There's a
same
difference
thing.
between a book about teen smoking and about a book that promotes teen smoking. It's very different. So that's what the motion is talking about. And again, I would argue that book shouldn't be in the library in the adult section or in the children's section.
And the process would be where, like you said, staff brings us a book, and we go over it at each board meeting.
Can I speak to that,
Yes,
please? Yes. I would need a lot more clarification on specifically what books would be considered. Right, are we talking if there is a character in that book? This is, from my perspective, as someone who's going to have to implement this, I need a lot more guidance on it, and I would also like to speak to some of the other points if I have your permission to do that.
Yes, you may.
Okay. In regards to Executive Order 14168, the federal funds, I have spoke to the state already. I spoke to Kate. We do receive federal funds, and any stipulations that come towards federal funds as far as what we can and cannot purchase, that will all trickle down to us from the state when those federal funds are dispersed. So I don't think I can wait on that as far as those purchases go to hear from the state for that direction. Also, the county meeting, that was March 4th of 2024. I did speak at that meeting, and I offered the action plan that we submitted, and I haven't heard any feedback since then. I would hope that if there were concerns, or if, hey, this wasn't enough, that over the last year someone would have reached out to me or the chair. So if funding is in question, I would hope that would be something that we could talk about. It's not really I don't think that it's not my responsibility to convince you that transgender or any type of transition is harmful, but it is my job to try and encourage you to protect access. to information and follow the policies that the board has supplied and approved from previous meetings. The way that that motion is presented, it does go against policies PN 103, 104, 105, 107, 200, 201, 202, 400, 401, 403, 405, as far as how we consider materials. Also, from a personal standpoint, I am asking the board to please not proceed with this right now. I believe that a lawsuit is inevitable, and this needs to be discussed when a permanent director with the proper experience and background and leadership has been identified. I do respect that it is your responsibility to write policy for this library system. I respect that. But discussing a sweeping change of this magnitude without the proper leadership could be viewed as opportunistic. Finally, as a public library, we do not act in loco parentis. That is not our responsibility. The responsibility for children's reading and behavior lies with their parent and guardian. Children cannot obtain a library card without their parents' permission. Parents can choose the level of access that they have, even if they have a library card. That was all part of the action plan that was submitted in last year. They're not allowed in the library by themselves until they're 12. And even if the child over 12 comes to the library and checks out an item, that is still up to the parent's discretion whether that item is chosen. It's not. I'm just asking them to please wait until we have better leadership.
Based on that, I am making the move that we postpone indefinitely, which is not to say that we would not bring it back up, but I believe that that would be the most appropriate thing we could do. Given the number of questions that we have, given that we do have several board members that are at least uncomfortable with the language or the lack of specificity in maybe the plan. And given that I so wish we could be focused more on that Marcy and the committee are doing in terms of picking the director, selecting the director.
Postponed until later. That's what I hear indefinitely, I think.
Well, it does mean, postponed indefinitely means it might not come back. I realize it will.
Yeah.
But that gets it, from the Robert's Rules of Order, that gets it to where it does not have to come back in 3 months or whatever.
Yeah, there's a motion on the floor. I don't think a second motion can be made.
Right, but that's what you were talking about. Well, we have the motion and a second on the floor to remove.
They're going to do it.
Remove material that promotes, encourages, advocates for, or normalizes
They're going to do it.
genderism or gender confusion in minors. And that motion is made. Any further discussion at all on this? If not, I guess we'll go ahead and take it to a voice vote.
Voice vote. Roll call.
Yes, want to make sure y'all are paying attention. All right, and I've got my list, and we'll start from the bottom and go up first. Last time I went top down, so. Cody.
Yes.
Marcy.
Yes.
Tori.
No.
Susan.
Yes.
Dina.
Yes. Yes.
Sam.
Yes.
No. Benjamin?
No.
Lisa is absent. Okay. 5, 3, 1. 5, 2 removed, 3 no, 1 not present. So the motion is passed.
Still got stuff to talk about. I'm just kidding. Now, in all seriousness, I appreciate y'all coming. Join us again, okay? But I want you to know, board, how much money do y'all make when you be a library board member? 0. These people have volunteered free of charge to serve. Not only do they serve for free, these people serve for minimum a 3-year term. And in some cases, longer than that. So, it's not easy, as you can tell. But that wraps us up. Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, our next meeting, everybody ready to call?
Thank you. Can't wait for the lawsuit.
Sorry.
Public libraries and public schools are under attack.
Monday, April 21st, 5 p.m. Unless that changes. Everybody have that? Monday, April 21st, 5 o'clock. All right, everybody, that wraps up this edition of the show.
There you have
Thank y'all very much.
it. Nazis have taken over Tennessee. I'll be live tomorrow. We can talk about it tomorrow. I'm going to go home and drink and cry now.